Hello and welcome to TelecomTV. We are in The Hague in the Netherlands at the SDN World Congress 2016, and I'm talking with an old friend, Prayson Pate, who is the CTO of Ensemble at Adva Optical Networks. Prayson, good to see you again.
You too, Martin.
We meet again. Let's start at the very beginning, shall we? Prayson, there's a lot of chat around NFV, SDN network change, transformation, cloudification, as there has been for a few years. But we're moving on well and truly now from technology concept, proof of concept, lab work, into real, genuine commercial deployments. And it's being the technology that it is, it's deployable in many different situations. Can we start by talking about 5G just for a moment? Do you see NFV and SDN as being key components of 5G, and if so, why? Do you see any evidence of things changing?
Absolutely. If you look at the architectures for 5G, it's very much designed to be implemented as software running on open platforms. And an example of that is MEC, Mobile Edge Compute. We're seeing a lot of interest in using that as a platform not only for the operators, but for over-the-top players to be able to provide more sophisticated services based on the mobile network. So that's a very interesting area for us.
Okay, thank you. And the other thing that people have been talking about a lot, with very good reason, obviously, is, show me the money. Where is the profitability in this going to be? Do you yourself, have you seen, can you articulate the sort of new business models and services that will enable CSPs to generate return on the investment that they're making at the moment in the new network transformation?
Absolutely. We're seeing two very solid business cases that offer CSPs the ability to innovate and drive new services. The first is virtual CPE. And what we're seeing is that while customers may not care anything about NFV or SDN, what they do care about is the ability to get services on demand. So instead of having to order a service and wait weeks and months, they can go onto a customer portal, order a service, and have it dynamically instantiated. That has real value for customers and therefore has real competitive advantages for operators who can deploy these services dynamically under user control. The other one that's really interesting is SD-WAN. The economics of SD-WAN make it very compelling for enterprises, and so operators have to move down that same path also. We're seeing opportunities, though, for operators to incorporate SD-WAN as a part of an overall service offering as opposed to today's standalone model. Okay,
thank you. One of the other things that's been mentioned, Prayson, quite a lot, the focus, the spotlight is very much now on assurance, service assurance, network assurance, and so on, where before, as we were saying, as the thing progressed from a base new technology into commercial deployment, the emphasis changes, evidently, and service providers are getting increasingly concerned about assurance, and particularly dynamic and closed loop assurance.
Yep.
Do you find the same?
Absolutely, and that's an area of particular interest to me. We're seeing that it's very interesting for a couple of reasons. So first of all, not only are today's enterprises in the mode of wanting to get services now, they're used to being able to understand the status of whatever they're getting. If you order a package, you get a shipping number. If you order airline tickets, you get them online. If you have a telecom service, your visibility is typically somewhat limited. So they want to have visibility into that. But the other side of it that's very important is the operation side. Most of the drive to SDN and NFV has been done on the technical side or the marketing side. How can we leverage a new technology? How can we drive new services? Most people are forgetting about the operations team, and they're scared to death of how they're going to run these new services. So being able to provide service assurance to work in a closed loop manner to not only turn up the service, create a birth certificate, monitor the service, and then if things go wrong, to troubleshoot it. Those are very important aspects of making these services successful.
Is the capability to do that in existence now?
The piece parts are in existence. So we have service assurance pieces that exist. Our equipment, our software has pieces of it, but what has to be done is tying together the existing service assurance probes and analysis with the virtualized infrastructure and bring all of that together and correlate the service to the virtualized infrastructure to the hardware underneath.
So, as things become operational and become commercialized, money is even more important, return, as we've already said, return on investment. How far down the road? I always like to end these interviews, especially with you, looking forward 12 months or so, because you seem to be pretty accurate so far. Where do you see things being in 12 months' time in as far as the deployment of these networks and access to applications and services across them will be on a dynamic basis? So you'll be able to do exactly what NFV and SDN are supposed to do within a secure, assured environment.
Well, looking back 12 months and comparing it to now, we've seen a tremendous change in the attitude of the operators. We've gone from the stage of tenders and proofs of concept and trials to how can we actually roll this out. We're now actively engaged with a number of service providers who are trying to figure out how to roll this out. And so we see next year a tremendous increase in the number of live deployments based on all of the things we've talked about, the need to embrace new technology, the need to go faster, and the need to provide these dynamic services. So looking forward to 2017.
Well, looking back, I mean, the first time we got involved with this was 2013, and it was all new. It's not still very new, of course, but I've never seen a technology or a market grow so rapidly as this has.
Well, the thing is that it was being driven by what people could see in the cloud. They could see the benefits of cloud compute, of compute on demand, dynamic services, the ability to build complicated software systems from components. All of those aspects are now being driven into the telco market, not only by the pull of the operators wanting to get them, but really honestly competitive threat from the over-the-top players who are using those technologies.
Indeed so, and the reaction by the service providers has been, for them, given that some of them are still pretty monolithic, have been remarkably swift. I suppose the threat of imminent death sharpens the mind, doesn't it?
It does, but it also forces them to change behavior. If you see how they're now starting to break down some of the silos internally, and so where in the past a supplier like Adva would have to go in and have 10 different meetings, now you're having meetings with the operators with multidisciplinary groups. You have the people from marketing, from engineering, from the CTO office, from operations, and sometimes even purchasing, and they all realize they have to work together to go faster.
Well, things really are changing. Great to see you again, Prace and Pate.
My pleasure.
Thanks very much.